the best character, right? The one worthy of the hero, the one that you want to root for. And oftentimes, the evil girl is also very pretty, right? So any, rival character is also pretty. So they're stuck with a dilemma on their hands. It's just pretty versus pretty. And it's not like we'll just be like, oh yeah, just because you tell us that this person is good, we'll just believe you, roll over.
Right, so unless from the get-go, the ugly girl is pretty, you won't be invested in the ugly girl.
Well, that's one way of thinking about it.
Right.
So that's one way where you're invested. She's the underdog.
But there's like a certain base level of prettiness that she must have for you to
and then they
like
bring
her.
it out. So she's like an underdog that comes up.
Right.
So
you could see the potential.
Take two people who just start off like this. You may not root for either one of them very much. But take somebody who's like this, and this person who rises up from that and gets to that same level, you may root for that person just because you were with her during the journey.
Yes.
Here's my third piece of evidence why they might do this. It comes from psychology. Studies show that basically, with things like attractiveness, with attractive people, we have no baseline for who's more attractive than somebody else. At a certain point, they're just all attractive, right? They're in the category of attractive. You can't really quite distinguish them. It's like good wine. You can't really distinguish them. So what do you do? What do you do? Here's what you do. Let me tell you a fable, okay? Let's say there are two houses, and you know nothing about houses. One is a colonial-style house, and the other is a Spanish mission-style house.
Right.
Okay? And it turns out you really don't have any preference for one over the other. And then you find another house that's also a Spanish mission-style house, but its roof is broken and it's a little bit more expensive, right? But in most other ways, it's pretty similar to the other house. And they've done studies with this, where basically what happens is people prefer the better Spanish house.
Yeah.
But let's say we flipped it around. Let's say I told you, here's another third house. It's a colonial house where the roof is broken.
Right.
Roof is broken, needs fixing, and the price is a little bit more. But in almost all other ways, it's the same as the other colonial house.
Right.
Then people prefer the other colonial house.
The one that's broken.
No, the better.
Yeah.
So depending on what your third house is, people prefer the colonial house or the Spanish mission house.
Right.
This is actually
if you could compare it to something else. So if you have two colonials and just one Spanish, then you'll go with the best colonial.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we are relative thinkers.
Right.
It's really hard for us to weigh apples and oranges.
Right.
But if we have an apple, an orange, and a rotten orange, we'll go with the orange.
And this relates to the pretty ugly girl in...
Here's how. With the pretty ugly girl scenario, here's what I'm suggesting. Time creates a different person.
The third person.
A third person.
That makes her even more attractive.
Exactly.
Wow.
So here
Brilliant.
is a slightly ugly version of this person.
And then, of course...
versus this person, who are already pretty to begin with.
Right.
Starters, right?
Right.
This person becomes more preferable.
Oh. So not only does the baseline, she starts off already kind of pretty, she hits super pretty status that we wouldn't normally think she was, if just in the beginning.
Because we're comparing her to herself.
And that is G's theory about the pretty ugly girl.
But